Welcome back to the next video in this series of tutorials where you will discover the secret of breathtakingly beautiful embroidery.
Stitch the first row of stitches, and as you can see they are just here, and this fabric has got to come back over here and be secured nice and flat so that the stitches, the embroidery stitches go over it. So what I tend to do is I very carefully, now these are, oh dear, these are the wrong scissors. I have special applique scissors which I find the best for doing this. As you can see, they've got a little bit of a bill here, although sometimes I use my embroidery scissors with the curve. I find that particularly helpful, especially if I do have a brainstorm sometimes and can't remember which way these are meant to cut. Anyway, there we are. I've cut that area there. Now you can see that this is slightly out of a line, and that doesn't matter. Sometimes I think it's nice to put the fabric at a complete angle because the slub of the silk creates a point of interest, and this is going to go over like that. So now this looks horrendous because it's bright green, but I assure you this slimline pen will disappear once it's dry. I've used several things, and I find the temporary adhesive spray, which I do use a lot, is not quite so good for this. So you push that down very securely, ironing it with your fingers into the corner. Now for some reason or other my got a loose bobbin thread there, but the design's got lots of stitches that cover over the join, so the odd little flaw or show through probably doesn't matter. So that is the first piece of fabric attached. Right, I've just stitched the next lot of the next set of alignment stitches, and as you can see it's two curves here, which when I digitized this they were to mimic the top of a heart. So like before, I need to come in here and cut away the excess here so that this bit isn't showing. Now this is an instance where my curved machine embroidery scissors would probably have done it a little bit better. I'll go and do the next set of stitches now. I just checked my PDF, and the next piece of fabric is put in place and stitched down. It's not folded over like the previous one. I'm going to use this square of lime silk because the lines on this fabric are going that way. I will place this one here, and I've added some of my fluorescent pen, and I'm just going to lay this on the top and smooth it down. Whoops. As you can see, I've cut my pieces far too big, but it's always better to cut too big than too small. Now I've just taken this off the hoop, and I've actually stitched 3 lots of securing stitches. The curves that went there, then that corner which holds this piece down, and then there's a line of stitches that go across here which mark the place for me to put the next lot of fabric, which will go on like that, I believe. I'm just going to check the PDF. Now it's important, I think, because I made this mistake in the first place, not to trim away the excess here on the boundaries of your work. I once started trimming them and suddenly realised I'd cut them so near that I didn't have nice seams to work with when I joined them or created an embroidered project with them. So that's what I would suggest you do. So I'm going to lay this piece on here and apply that one. As you can see, I'm trying to alternate between the creams and the greens and not to put the two greens together. It's very important to double check as you work, and as I've just proved, I need to do 2 lots of trimming before I attach the next lot of fabric. These 2 little curves here need cutting. Cut as close as possible as you can. And I tend to go into the middle on both of them rather than try and work around that corner. I'm having a complete mental blockage today as to which size the bill's got to be. I think it's that side. Right, so that's that one cut away. And obviously, because I'm going to put some fabric here, I need to trim this seam. If you leave too much fabric underneath, it has a tendency to show, and it gives unnecessary bulk to your machine. I'm sorry if my hand's in the way of the cutting. There we are. So that's the 2 lots of cutting that I need to do. And then I can put this one on here and attach it and fold it up into that corner. Back again. Now I would advise that you always remove your hoop from your machine to do this preparatory work between adding each block. You may be dealing with temporary adhesive and you're cutting it, and when you work at an angle like that on your machine, you're not as accurate as you are as when you're above it. So please do remove it from the machine to do all your preparatory work. There's no need to press these pieces of fabric between applying them. If you've ironed them beforehand, then they're fine. Now this is obviously going to fill up into where the outlines are, which is why it's important to have this outline on your fabric. I'm getting all sorts of bits of thread stuck to this, which is probably not helpful. You don't want it to be too bulky. Now I'm getting all sticky. Put the lid on that. And once again, start in the middle and push up and iron with your fingers. Now this is all going to be covered with embroidery, and some of these pieces are actually going to be covered with quite large motif stitches, creating a pattern on the fabric. So any little flaws or little bumps, they will all disappear, don't worry about them. So that's our 3rd piece of fabric. The only thing we've got to do is now attach this cream piece, and I'll go over to the machine when I've removed all this sticky from my fingers and stitch out the alignment stitches so that I know exactly where to place that fabric.
Thank you so much for watching. That's all for this video. If you found it helpful, please hit the like button, or better still, leave me a comment. Do subscribe to my channel and select the bell so that you never miss out on an opportunity to visit with me in my sewing studio and be inspired. See you in the next video. Bye for now. Happy embroidering.